Special edition of It's a Football Show. We right now, as we speak, the Broncos are playing Hawaii at home. So we have some guest appearances to fill in for tonight while the boys are out watching the game. To my right, we have Shaun Whitney.
Hello.
Very special Bronco fan, or Denver Bronco fan.
Denver Bronco.
Yeah. Well,
Also
you're also
Boise
Boise
State,
State Bronco.
yeah.
Well. And to my left is April. She is a big Jets fan and also a big fan of the show. She's big help. So thank you very much for being here. I'm Justin Throngard. I guess we'll get right into it. So kind of how things went last week as far as me is, since I'm the only one here representing that made a pick from last week, I actually scored big. I said that Arizona was going to beat Dallas, and all the way they did. They looked pretty damn good in that game.
They looked good going into it too.
Yeah. They came out pretty hot.
Strong in the they're strong in the division. And Dallas was kind of faltering at the point.
Yeah. There's awesome mic issues as well. Yeah. They played so good that they're ruining our sound. So, kind of, what do you think's going on in Dallas, Shaun? I mean, give us a little bit of your thoughts. That's where Dallas is going. They came out to be such a power player in the whole league, and now they're just kind of faltering. I mean,
yeah, it seems like Dallas thinks they're too good than they are.
They are who they thought they were.
Right. Exactly. They have all the talent in the world. They have wide receivers, a quarterback that can throw to them, and they just continually are mediocre. They just can't gel together, and they can't get the team that they need.
What, do you think that there's a chance? I mean, what's it going to take for them to be able to do that? They did just pick up Roy Williams, the big man
That is true,
at
but
Detroit.
But picking up Roy Williams only gets you so far in that receiver core.
Right.
I mean, you have Terrell Owens, you have multiple other options that Roy Williams just isn't going to add that much to that offense. So.
Mostly their defense, it seems like to me that it's just been kind of stinky. Like, they have a good, team on offense that plays consistently. I mean, Tony Romo threw for 3 touchdowns last week as opposed to Kurt Warner's only 2. But it seems like their defense is just, dropping the ball figuratively speaking, every time that
right.
they're on, at the end of the game. They just aren't stepping up. So.
Right.
April, your thoughts?
And they lost Tony Romo.
It's possible.
Well, he has a broken pinky, which I think is funny. It's kind of humorous. So I don't think he's playing this Sunday. And I think the Rams are going to take it.
The Rams, really, over Dallas?
Because they beat Washington. And since Romo's out, I mean, statistically, if you lose your quarterback, you're going to do worse.
That's true, but...
I mean, if you lose your receiver, there's other receivers. But if you lose the man behind center, I mean, he's the brains, he reads the field, so you're going to run into some more problems.
However, he may be starting. Well, he's the last report that I read, he's not going to be starting.
Right.
He is dressing, and Brad Johnson's going to get the start.
Right.
But, Brad Johnson's a really experienced quarterback. However, he has basically never had good experience. So.
Right. And you can be experienced, but you have to be experienced with your team. You have to practice with your team and know them, and, I mean, you see that all the time with backups going in and just not being cohesive.
Falter for the first few games, which he's probably not going to get more than one game anyways to start, maybe not even an entire game. So Tony Romo back in.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Rams.
The Rams, that's it.
But they are still the Rams.
Right, I mean,
but
they beat Washington.
Yeah, they did beat Washington.
And Washington is,
but in the NFL,
is looking great this year. So
every team wins at least once. Well, except for
there is a reason why there's a saying called any given Sunday.
Right,
any team can win, any team can lose. That's why you play the game.
Yeah, I think it's about momentum too. Teams that are winning, it's psychological. They have a momentum going, and they're going to take it.
Yeah, well.
We'll see.
Good luck to those guys, I guess. St. Louis over Dallas would be a pretty big upset, but it's possible. There's a lot of people that thought Arizona wasn't going to do it. Arizona played their guts out. Arizona's a good team. I think this might be finally the year that all the talent actually finally comes together, and they might make it. Yeah. They're probably going to make it to the playoffs at least.
Arizona's a fantastic team.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Stacked deep, and we still don't have any word on Anquan Bolden's nose
hopefully this bye week will kind of allow him to heal and get that surgery taken care of.
And he's lucky it was only his nose.
Right.
Because that was a really nasty hit. And that was the Jets.
Yeah.
And he's been fined.
Yeah, and he's coming back saying that that the fine was too steep and the suspension, which I kind of agree with him because I watched the hit and it was a legal hit. It was just a bad thing. It just sucked that Bob Bolden got hit because he. But
it's drilled into their heads not to,
And they are setting a precedent.
Right.
Well,
not to do
if
those
you
helmet
if you bounce off of one guy and the guy's helmet happens to come into yours, what do you do?
It was pretty it was helmet to helmet, front to front. It was.
So you're in support of the fine.
Yeah.
Wow, as a Jets fan, I'm really surprised.
You got to keep those rules.
Yeah, I guess it keeps the game nice and kosher. But at the same time, it wouldn't be football without some.
Exactly.
Rough and tumbleness.
Exactly. I mean, you never like to see a hit like that where the guy's arm is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's scary.
It is scary. It is scary. Okay. I need to speak up. Awesome. I have no idea what that means. But we're up. You can give live. Vocal.
We are live.
Yeah. Hey, go Boise State. We're still in support even though we're here. So we can't wait till the game is underway, or
finished.
When we have another thing on our notch or whatever that says that we're who we are actually. So there's a lot of people that thought Hawaii was going to win, but that's neither here nor there. It's an NFL show. But anyways, coming up this week, I'm personally saying that the big head-to-head matchup is Minnesota and Chicago. Both teams are 3-3 in that North Division. Green Bay is currently leading it. But Green Bay is having some difficulties here and there. They're still looking good. But I think that you're either going to see Chicago or Minnesota up at the end of the year in that division. So it's a big game. Whoever wins that game is pretty much, I think, the ball is going to stay continually rolling in their favor. But I don't think it's going to be Chicago. My apologies to Drayton. I'm glad that he's not watching the show right now because he'd want to smack me in the mouth and say you're a moron. But I think that Chicago makes way too many mistakes on offense. They get really uppity, and it seems like the more excited they get about winning the game, the worse that they play. Minnesota's really starting to get their whole game going after what was a disappointing start. But, they still got Adrian Peterson. Mm-hmm. Chicago's run defense is, in my mind, really overrated. There's a lot of teams that are running all over them. So I see them getting behind, Chicago getting behind, and then going through the air constantly. So I just don't think that that's what it's going to be able to take it. But I say 24-7, Minnesota.
Wow.
Anybody want to throw down and call me a moron?
No, I haven't thought about a point spread, but I think that Chicago's going to win. I think it comes down to defense, and defense ultimately wins the game.
They are the big defensive team.
And it's at home for Chicago. I think that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, it is. The Soldier Field's a really tough place to play in from what I understand, not my personal experience. But
so I think that they might take it from the Vikings.
Nice.
I really think if Adrian Peterson has the game that he should have, then the Vikings will win.
Well, what do you think about on the opposite side of the ball about Matt Forte? I mean, he's a big back. He's, I think, 2 spots behind Adrian Peterson in the top leaderboard as far as rush yards. So
yeah,
do you think he's going to be a factor at all, or?
Oh, he's definitely going to be a factor. But as far as the run game goes, I think that Adrian Peterson has that ability to switch the game around, whereas Matt Forte is kind of still trying to come into his own and develop himself in that offense, where Adrian Peterson needs to, step up for the Vikings to do well. And if he steps up, then I think the Vikings have a really good chance of beating Chicago.
I will say one thing about Chicago is, on running backs, they cause a lot of injuries, and to the opposing team's running back. Unfortunately, it seems like every time the Lions play Chicago, I lose half my team. But Adrian Peterson is really injury prone, so this could be the game that we see him. I don't want to make an ugly prediction like that, but he hasn't played more than a single season at a time all the way through ever since high school. So he's injury prone. The Bears are known for causing injuries. It's possible that we lose Adrian Peterson for the season this Sunday. So not making any ugly predictions. Don't hold me to it, but if it happens, then I will say I told you so. Thoughts?
All right. You did predict Arizona, and that was amazing.
I also have made some pretty bad predictions. I think the last time I made a real, actual bet, I said that the Lions were going to go to the Super Bowl before the Chicago Bears. No. Chicago Bears went that year. So
Didn't Detroit win 3 games that season?
Yeah,
4 games that season?
I didn't say that Detroit was going to go that year. I said that they would go before the Bears.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And they might have
but
a
the
win
season
this
that you
week.
did make that prediction.
They play Houston.
I don't think that Detroit is going to win, actually. I think that it's a good topic. We can make fun of Detroit, but, they got rid of Roy Williams, sent him to the Cowboys for 3 draft picks next year, a first round, a third round, and a 9th round, I believe. Detroit's going to have number 1 pick because they're already not going to win any. I mean,
You think they're going to win? You think they're going to have a winless season?
I think that they are going to have a winless season.
I think the Bengals are going to have.
Really? That is a bold statement.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised about that.
But
it's possible. They're still both winless.
Right.
Nobody in the history of the NFL has ever gone defeated. So this could be the year. We all wanted Miami to go defeated last year.
Yeah.
So getting back on the topic of Roy Williams, do you think that was a good trade?
I think it was a terrible trade.
From the Lions' perspective?
From the Lions' perspective, the Cowboys' perspective, and Roy Williams' perspective. Because first off, Roy Williams isn't going to get any playing time. Dallas is stacked on receivers. They are loaded. They've got Jason Witten, who has more receiving yards than, I want to say, 90% of, go Bronx, 90% of the running, or the number 1 wide receivers out there. And he's a tight end. They also have T.O., of course, and Patrick Creighton's a great wide receiver.
Right.
So basically, Roy Williams steps into an offense that he doesn't know, and he's a number 3 receiver, number 4 if you count Jason Witten into that. Mm-hmm. So it's not good for him. It's also not good for the Lions because they don't need any more draft picks. They need to start making more consistent choices on their team. Stop firing people. Stop changing things. And just get some consistency there. Roy Williams was their consistency man. It's all over for him.
Do you think that this was sort of a changing of the guard as far as getting rid of Roy Williams and for draft picks trying to get that into, trying to work some more receivers into their offense or
more receivers out of draft
rebuild?
Picks? That's who they are. They're the Lions. They draft receivers every year. I mean, that's what they do. Yes, you have Calvin Johnson now. Calvin Johnson's phenomenally talented, but what you need there is an offensive line, and hopefully that's where this is going. I don't think that they have a management team that's going to make a good decision like that. But with Kitna out for the rest of the season. Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone causing safeties. I just don't see
that doesn't happen.
that they're going to win a game. They're terrible. But the Bengals, they might win a game. They might not win a game. I don't know. Carson Palmer's
they're such an
injured.
Offensive force, though.
When
someone like Carson Palmer is out of the game, it just takes that whole air out of the balloon of Cincinnati's offense.
Yeah.
And you can see it too. I mean, they just haven't been putting up the numbers on offense that they have.
You mean you can see it on actual paper where it says they have won 0 games and they've lost 5 games?
Right, but even as far as passing yards, offensive yards, all this stuff, they just haven't been able to get to that level that they were at last year.
They're getting closer and closer.
They're getting closer.
But they're not going to win, right?
No, I don't think
but
they will. They play Washington.
Any given Sunday.
I think Washington looks great.
Washington is a really good team.
Yeah, they're looking really good.
You're backing St. Louis, and you're saying that St. Louis is a good team by beating Washington. Yet St. Louis, that's the first winning team that they've beaten their last 10 games.
Right, and I think it's about momentum. I think that they're going to feel confident and.
But you think after a loss like that Washington is going to be able to get that momentum back and start winning games?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because look at them. They always come back. Like, look at their games. They come back in the second half. They stay in it. They stay in the whole game. They don't give up.
They are a second half
And that's how
team.
they win.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Well, what about the Jets? What do you think about the Jets?
I think the Jets are looking great. I think
Yeah.
they finally found their niche. I think they're cohesive. They're using Brett Favre how he's supposed to be used. I mean, we had Pennington, and so we would, run it on second and run it on third. But now that we have Brett Favre, we can actually pass and
score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like 6 of them in a game.
And not throw paper airplanes like Chad Pennington would do.
Yeah.
So.
But he's doing okay in Miami.
He's working great for Miami. He's great for their offense. He's efficient, but
Brett Favre does fit that system.
When you have receivers like Cotchery and Coles, it's great to have, far behind center. So
for sure. And playing Oakland,
right?
Not bad.
But you can never get too confident. But
Oakland is in a meltdown.
We have a really good season. We play Kansas City after that, and we just beat the Bengals. So
don't count out those Chiefs.
No,
I don't know. Best thing they did was injure Brady.
They put.
And the Chiefs are thinking about getting rid of Tony Gonzalez at this point too.
Yes, they are.
The trade deadline's
there was
gone,
talk.
but you can't let go of your number one guy. I mean, he's your franchise player. If you let go of Tony Gonzalez, a player that is such a leader on that team, who do they have in the leadership position after that? Larry Johnson's great, but I just don't see the Chiefs making good decisions in the management scheme either. I think that the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Lions should all get together and have a bath.
Yep. And also, I don't think that Dwayne Bowe is also the person that you can put that sort of responsibility on.
He's not the wave of the future.
He is not the wave of the future in Kansas City.
I think Herm Edwards is just kind of an easygoing coach, and he doesn't push the team, and I think that's part of the problem. Like, that was the Jets' problem, and then they got Mangini and...
Sometimes on those crappy teams, you need somebody that's going to kick you in the head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I love Herm Edwards. I loved him when he was with the Jets, but he isn't as forceful.
Right. He's like the Mariucci of coaches.
He's no Belichick, so.
Yeah. You gotta have somebody sometimes that just says, look, you're not that good. You need to step it up.
Exactly.
If you want to be that good, it's possible that you can be that good, but...
Exactly, but they took Brady out for the season, so...
No Brady.
So, thank you, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Especially in our division.
Not a Brady fan, huh?
No, of course not.
Nice. We're not too big on the Brady either.
And who does New England play?
Denver.
They have the Monday night game. And they play Denver.
Against Denver.
What are your thoughts, Denver boy?
Yeah. Miami can do it, right?
Miami can do it, so Denver should be able to. That's what
should.
I believe Denver really has.
You don't sound very confident there, Shaun.
I'm reserved because of Denver's running defense. They have a terrible running defense, as porous as any team in the NFL. And I think Sammy Morris is really a back that can really run against a football team.
And Lawrence Maroney isn't exactly
And Lawrence Maroney is, as well. And I think if Denver really steps up and gets that running defense together and solid, I think that they have a chance to beat them. But their secondary is
their linebackers,
good.
Not their secondary. That's their linebackers who's letting all those runs go through. I mean, people that are playing in the safety positions, they're saving games, fortunately. But everybody's just kind of looking at the linebackers and schooling them, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think that's where.
And that's a sad point too, because during the offseason they were trying to restructure their defense, moving linebackers around, trying to get that run defense back solid, and it just hasn't gelled yet this season.
Yeah.
And
how about that Jay Cutler? How do you feel about
Jay Cutler is on fire?
You're still rooting for Jay.
That guy is throwing touchdown passes. Yeah, I think so.
The Plummer replacement. I remember when Plummer got replaced.
I was sad.
You were livid.
Yeah, I was.
But
I was
then
like,
all of a sudden,
who is this young kid replacing Jake Plummer? How can you replace Jake Plummer, a system quarterback for Denver? He was the perfect offensive key to that offense, and Jay Cutler stepped up and did the job, and I'm happy about that. But I think that Denver really has a chance to beat New England.
Yeah.
New England is really on their heels, and they're really trying to define themselves after last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're an old team, and they don't have Brady.
They do. They are.
Matt Castle is not the replacement.
Their mystique is gone.
Yeah, and I think
so.
Yeah, and
anyone can beat them now.
As long as there's no shady deals underneath the table with Bill Belichick paying off some refs, which I still think to this day is going to come out.
Absolutely.
Those guys hold on every single possession. So somebody's getting paid. I really don't.
Well, we already know they cheat. I mean,
they have proven to cheat.
Yeah.
And if you get on Al Davis's bad side, oof.
Hey, you might not get paid.
Yeah, you might have to send Randy Moss back. Sorry, our bad. I guess we fooled around with him. You can have him back, you crazy old wizard.
Hey, Al, it's me. Yeah. I've been the coach here for 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that was my dig.
We got Denver over
New England.
Denver over New England. Now, as far as Denver, do you see them going all the way this year? I mean, do you think that this is the year that they get back into the Super Bowl conversation?
Denver? I really doubt it. I want them to, but I have reserves for them just because of their defense. They really can't get their defense in line.
Right.
You know, for 3 years now, they've been trying to build up their defense, and it hasn't worked.
How about?
But as far as their division, they'll make it to the playoffs unless San Diego really does something dramatic and wins out the division. Then they'll go to the playoffs.
Right.
That would really think that
would be what happens.
Dramatic.
I don't know. I think San Diego might take the #1 spot.
San Diego might come into their own.
I'm so leery about San Diego. Norv Turner is not a good coach. He makes awful decisions, and somehow they're still coming up with wins. And every time I watch them play, I go, what are they doing? And yet some miracle happens and they finish it off.
Yeah.
You don't give LT the ball. That's a good offense. That's he's only the best running back that's in the league. Don't let him have it.
Offense.
Phillip Rivers should just throw the ball around. He should just throw it around to whoever he isn't on the opposing team.
Right.
But I can't imagine that Denver's going to screw up that bad where San Diego, halfway through the season becomes who I think that they are.
Right.
So I say Denver in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, luckily Denver has that offense. They have the Brandon Marshalls. They have the Eddie Royal, who is an
Tony
Scheffler,
really
an outstanding rookie that's really come into that offense and shown them that he can do stuff.
Yeah.
And then Jay Cutler, third-year quarterback, throwing touchdowns.
Yeah. Now, as for you, do you see the Jets in the playoffs?
I don't know. Maybe on a wild card. I know that they're not going to win the division.
Who's going to win that division?
Buffalo.
Really? You think Buffalo
really
is that strong?
I do. I think Buffalo is.
Now, has Buffalo and New York haven't played yet, right?
No, they play after we play Kansas City.
Okay,
so we
so
have
2
all
weeks,
those. We have
the
all
big game.
those easy games, and then we play Buffalo. I believe in Buffalo. So we'll see.
No big 6 touchdown day out of Brett when he plays the Bills defense.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually think that the Jets might look better than Buffalo. I think Buffalo has
Really?
some legwork to go. They've got really young talent. Marshawn Lynch as the ugliest man in the world. Hello, we have a caller.
Oh.
Hello, it's a football show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good?
Yes.
Hey, who's this chick on here? Chick don't know anything about football.
This is no. April, I have a feeling that she knows quite a bit about football. So maybe
That voice sounded familiar.
maybe a psycho ex-boyfriend or something.
Well, it sounded like one of our co-hosts.
Ah, I see.
Do we have a question?
Yeah, is there?
No,
it's
they dropped
it's
him.
just an insult for our lady friend, our one lady friend. However, we did get told that we were hot last week, so maybe this is a lady-friendly show actually. So we'll see. But anyways, back to the Jets.
Yes.
Wild card shot, huh? Even with all the faith that you have in Brett Favre.
Because we usually do really well and then peter out. I mean, but that was under Pennington, and that was last year and the year before, so we'll see. I don't know. I think what? I think now I lost my train of thought. I think Brett Favre has done something great for the team. I think he's really motivated everyone, and
Where do you see
old
old man next year? Do you see him still with the Jets, or do you see him giving it up?
Favre?
Yeah.
I think he's going to play forever until he just physically can't do it anymore. I think he's that kind of player.
Well, I'll probably be dead before he retires.
I think he absolutely loves the game.
That's not a prediction for next week or anything.
I think he's a great quarterback. I mean, he loves the game. He has heart. He takes chances. He throws interceptions, but yet, he makes incredible connections with his receivers. So
it wouldn't be seriously football without Brett Favre. And there's halfway through the season he usually falters, and people get, Brett Favre needs to go, and it's just still whether he's losing games wildly.
That's because he's old. I mean, that's what like Peyton Manning and Eli Manning are going through right now.
Right.
And they're young in their careers.
Well, except for Peyton Manning's not that young.
But Eli Manning, it's like same thing. If Brett Favre wasn't old, they wouldn't make those.
The thing that I like to see out of Brett Favre this season is obviously last year he beat the touchdown, the all-time touchdown passing record. He is demolishing that.
Record.
He is demolishing that with this season.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning's the next guy in line to get that beat that record. I don't know if Peyton Manning's going to catch him with the seasons that he's having. You know, if he was throwing onesie-twosies, it might be different. But he's throwing big games. I don't think he's gone under three touchdowns in a game yet. So.
Well, let's talk about, that's a good segue, let's talk about the Giants, how they're going to do.
The Giants?
Because they have a lot of injuries.
That was an agonizing defeat last week for them.
I mean, they play San Francisco, so I think they'll be okay, but.
So I don't think we need to maybe count out San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
They had a good start against the Eagles.
Maybe that's my prediction for this year.
They're going to go 500, which is a good year for them.
San Francisco's a good.
What happened in the Eagles game? I mean, they were going strong, and then all of a sudden it's like 40.
Yeah,
27.
you got.
They just kind of fell down at the finish line.
At the last 2 minutes, there was an interception for a pick and then a run back. I mean, what do you do against that? I mean, that's how scores get out of hand quick.
So you might be right, San Francisco.
But I think San Francisco looks
not against
better
the Giants.
than they have in the past.
But not against the Giants.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Not against the Giants, but.
Right.
Well, we are running out of time, so do you want to give us your fantasy picks really quick? Start them, sit them?
Yeah. Fantasy picks, start Devin Hester. I think that he's doing really well as far as a receiver in Chicago.
Who are they playing again?
Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. My
Yeah.
prediction. Hey, thanks for reminding me.
He's not running back touchdowns, but he's coming into his own on that receiver core and making big plays. And Minnesota has sort of a lackluster pass defense, so I really think that he can, and he's steadily increasing his numbers every week. So I think that he can really show.
Who are you sitting?
Who am I sitting? I think Dwayne Bowe.
Dwayne Bowe.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What's your reasoning for that?
Yeah, I just don't think that he can shoulder all that weight, at Kansas City.
Yeah.
And, they're playing. Who are they playing?
Kansas City is playing the Jets, right?
Nope, they're playing Tennessee.
No,
Tennessee,
That would
right.
be a loss.
Coming off a bye week, very strong team.
Yeah.
5-0, and I just think that they're not going to have that,
it's a good sit-em.
that offensive production.
It's a good sit-em. As far as me, I'm giving the start to Steve Slayton. They are playing Detroit. Detroit has the lowest ranked defense as far as the run in the league. So Steve Slayton's building a lot of momentum. If you picked him up as a rookie, on your draft, which I did, good for you. You're going to see big things out of Steve Slayton coming up this year. So as far as a sit, I say sit Matt Forte. Chicago's done. And thank you for watching It's a Football Show. Glad you could make it, if anybody did. And thank you to my special guests.
Thank you.
You guys did great.
Thank you.